I just did a thing the other day. When was it? Yesterday, day before, whenever I was last here. I was about to go home because I was running out of stuff to do on the Skoda MRS, and I decided to look at the engine bay of this, and I thought, you know what, I may as well take the engine out. And I looked at it and I started doing things, and I undid all the mounts and everything within about fucking 10 minutes, and it's like, hang on, this thing's going to come out very easy. But I didn't have time that night because it was getting dark. I mean, it's getting dark now. And then an hour or two ago today, I decided better get it out before it gets dark, and I just have way more work than it looked. One, I forgot to undo the rear mount, which was first sticking point, but not a big deal. Second one was basically just the drive shafts being in the way. On a lot of cars, and I hope to be on this, you undo the drive shafts from the hubs, and lifting the engine will get the fucker out. Unfortunately, because of the way the chassis rails are on this and stuff, no, they was just, the shafts would get mostly out, but they wouldn't come completely out. So then I had to resort, after lots of fucking messing with, I just undid the lower arms from the hubs, and yeah, they popped out easy then because it allows the hubs to flop about anywhere. Unfortunately, despite literally 10 minutes earlier saying to somebody how well it has come apart, it snapped two of the bolts off one of the or two of the nuts, studs, whatever, off the one lower arm. But that's not a big deal, I just buy a new one. They're probably about fucking £10. But yeah, apart from that, it's all right. And then I had to remove that shaft entirely because it's that funky long one, so it just wasn't happening because it's only got flex at that end. The main part is just a long straight shaft. So yeah, even with them out the hubs, that one was just never gonna allow it to be lifted out. But once that was off, came straight out. So yeah, it's out, job done. Yeah, this is what the very dirty engine bay looks like now. It's never getting a 3S-GTE ever again. Kind of glad as well, because it wasn't particularly, I mean, it was, well, to be fair, it was very easy to work on the turbo side of the engine and all that, which is, you know, that's good. But removal and refitting of the engine, not an easy task, and obviously anything on the inlet side at the back, practically impossible. So, but the new engine should give more room, actually. I mean, as you can see, it's a massive engine bay, like humongous. Only issues I see straight away is steering rack location and lack of any kind of transmission tunnel. I mean, there is a slight one, 'cause that's where the exhaust is going, but it's fuck all. And the rack is very low and very, well, not very low, it's not low at all, it's kind of relatively high. It's basically right where you'd want a fucking prop shaft. So yeah, there's gonna be a bit of monkeying about, but you know, it's not a big deal. Corolla World Rally cars were four-wheel drive. Lots of these have been converted to four-wheel drive. I don't know how they've done it, but there is room. But I think the rack may need to be moved purely to fit the new gearbox anyway, so whatever. To be honest, as long as it looks like it looks from the outside, I don't care what's done to the rest. I fucking happily bloody space frame the lot, you know what I mean? So whatever. But yeah, fuck is out. Well, now this engine's out, partly because I want to know what's wrong, because I always have done since it broke in the weirdest way, and partly because I want to know what it's worth to sell the bloody thing. I'm going to take this apart. this was very easy, and I found out what was wrong. It's not what I thought it was really, but I'm actually really pleased with what's happened, which I'll explain. That piston has a massive melted part, not broken. It's not broke the ringland in the corner of the piston, but it's melted. So why am I pleased? Well, the reason I'm pleased is because this shows how fucking good methanol is. Basically, you'd heard me talk about DET constantly, but it's a bit more complicated than that. Basically, there's two things that people often think is the same, but it's not, it's different. The same result though, broken engines. But detonation and pre-ignition is different. This is pre-ignition. Detonation tends to look like someone's chucked a hand grenade in your engine. There's pock marks everywhere and fucking broken bits and all sorts of shit. Pre-ignition, like this one, tends to be little to no det marks, but a melted thing. Also notice it's melted on the inlet side, not the exhaust side. Generally when there's det, it's almost always on the exhaust side because that's the hottest side. So what's the difference and why am I pleased? Well, I also like det, but I never really talk about pre-ignition when we're talking about engines, because on pump fuel stuff, as in road cars in the UK, because we haven't got E85 and we're not running race fuel, det is what kills 99% of road cars. Pre-ignition, the car's generally dead. You know, the det has killed it before it would get to the stage of pre-ignition. Pre-ignition tends to, it doesn't only happen, but it's most common with race fuel. And the reason is, det happens mostly because of a poor map. And when I say a poor map, I generally mean too lean or too advanced ignition timing for the fairly low octane fuel the car's running for whatever boost level it's running. Hence why it's mostly road cars on pump fuel that det their tits off and break engines. Melted stuff with no det is most common with kinds of race fuel. The octane's high enough that it can handle all the ignition timing, all the basically everything because of the real high octane. But if it runs lean, it doesn't matter on any, you know, regardless of fuels, you might not get det, but lean, it melts. Hence that piston being melted. So yeah, det happens first if you ain't got the fuel for it or you ain't got the map for it. But lean is lean and it kills it. But what this has shown is the methanol I was adding to this, which was a fucking lot. I mean, it was around about 50% of the fuel load was methanol. And when it blew up, if you remember previous videos, even, you know, the video on the day and other videos afterwards, I said on that last run, I saw it run lean, you know, on the AFR gauge. But because I was racing and I was, you know, I'm a dickhead like that, I just kept my foot in. I wanted to keep going. I didn't want to lose the race. I did lose the race because it blew up. But, you know, I like racing, so I didn't really care about the health of the engine, because this a very old and standard engine that supposedly can't handle this much power. But with methanol, it can. But if you run lean with methanol, just like you run lean with anything, it will melt. The difference is though, the massively high octane of the methanol means it didn't det itself to shit. It literally melted. It ran so lean that it melted the fucking aluminium on the piston, but it didn't det. What that's basically saying is if you're running enough methanol rich enough, as in how proper race cars work, it's no wonder they can hold together at ridiculous power and ridiculous boost levels. So this has just made me really, really like methanol now. I mean, I liked it anyway because, fuck, I was running going by the results, best part of 500 horsepower through this engine on stock internals, which people reckon isn't possible. and it was fine. And that was a methanol doing that, so I already loved it. But the fact that it ran lean, melted a piston, but didn't det, makes me think, like, fuck me, methanol is, I mean, it is mega high octane, but yeah, that says a lot. So yeah, it didn't even it didn't melt the plug. This is a different plug I put in it because just to see if it was going to fire, and it didn't. But it didn't melt the plug or anything. It literally just melted the piston on the inlet side. So yeah, methanol, fucking good. Det, fucking bad. Thing is though, melted pistons like this is very, very common on methanol. People like, I was talking to my friend Lee Connor with the world's fastest Lotus Elise and world's most powerful K series, and I mean Rover K series, not Honda, and he runs methanol, and he said the same to me. I sent him the pictures, and straight away he was like, yeah, that's methanol, there's no det, and it's done it on the inlet side, so that's pre-ignition has done that. The heat from that has melted it rather than it's detted. And he said it's the common thing on methanol. People will melt a methanol engine, you know, when they're new to methanol or whatever, and are like, I don't get it, there's no det, how's my engine died like this? And the simple answer is too lean, because methanol needs fucking rich mixtures. Like, generally the full boost AFR, if we're talking the normal, you know, gas scale we're used to, normal petrol scale we're used to, the AFR on full boost, to be safe, is usually around about 3.5 to 1, sometimes richer. Usually, generally, even 4 to 1 is like a dead engine. This is 100% methanol, I mean. So yeah, when people are used to running 11s and so on pump fuel, they don't seem to grasp quite often that you need fucking 3 times the amount of fuel with methanol. So yeah, you know, they know it's richer, so they run richer, but they don't run rich enough, and shit melts, and then they're like, why is it melted? It's like, because you don't know what you're doing. I see this a lot from professional tuners. I see a lot of professional tuners adding a fairly small amount of methanol to a car, like from a methanol injection kit, and then leaning out the AFRs to so-called compensate. Fuck that. That's, yeah, you're not going to get that, but you might fucking melt some shit like this. And the crazy thing is with methanol, which is what I'm pretty sure I said in that video, and I certainly said after, it's amazingly unresponsive to AFR, as in you can run it fucking spastic rich, I mean like ridiculously rich, and it doesn't really have much of an effect on power. It really doesn't. You know, like you run a normal, you know, petrol engine, you know, too rich, and it really kills power. So it's kind of always a trade-off of like how lean you want to run it versus how safe you want to run it, especially on turbo engines, where, like, you know, generally the perfect AFR for power would be like low 12s probably, but you're probably going to fucking break the engine at low 12s. And a lot of people will run sort of low 11s, and personally I would run richer. I would rather lose another fucking 10-20 horsepower and run mid to high 10s than I would run low 11s and risk breaking the fucking thing. But with methanol, honestly, you can pour so much down it, and you'll notice the power in the dyno, yeah, but honestly, you see the parts, you can pour so much more down it, and it fucking doesn't, you can't feel the difference. I mean, the AFRs on this setup I was running was fucking, it was crazy. Literally, even though it was only 50-50 methanol and pump fuel, the AFRs were, I think, in low 8s. Normally you would, you know, beyond about mid 10s, low 10s, normally at best, a normal petrol engine car will misfire. Like, you know, it's too rich to even run properly. This was in the low 8s, if I remember right, on boost. I'll have to, I don't know if I've got any footage to check. And you couldn't notice any drop in power at all. It was fucking monstrous. I tried leaning it out a tiny bit. It was no faster. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna put in all of it to make it safe. And it was. I mean, I did like 4 or 5 top speed runs, no problem. It was only when it leaned out on that last run, I knew it was going to break. You know, I saw the AFRs go into like the fucking 11s, I think it was, and it was like, this is dodgy. But I kept my foot in because I wanted to win the race. And then I blew it up and I didn't win, so fuck it. Carried on dismantling things and checking stuff out, and yeah, I've found some interesting things. Firstly, this car, well, this engine has had a recent cam belt and water pump and pulley and all that shit, so it was, yeah, it was looked after. I thought it was, and it was. But I also cleaned up the piston crowns to have a nosy, and noticed, don't know why you can see on camera, but this is top dead center, and the mounted one is correct, but this one is about 1 millimeter to 2 millimeters in the hole, as in the rod's bent. So yeah, not only did it mount one piston, it also slightly bent that rod. But yeah, only a tiny bit, but still, it's a bent rod. Gearbox, good news. Wow. Basically, when I bought the car, I was told it had a TRD limited slip diff in it, which is, most of these come with limited slip diffs, but the TRD ones are better. I spoke to the guys who originally built the car as their demo car for their Toyota tuning company back in the day. They also confirmed it had a TRD diff, but people say a lot of things, so I checked, and you can tell on these by looking in the drive shaft holes, because this is where the diff is, and the shafts go in there and there. And basically, open diffs, you can see a big hole in the middle. OEM limited slip diffs have got like a bar, and aftermarket ones, TRD and CAS and a few others, have got a small pencil sized hole, and this has got a small pencil sized hole. It's not like noisy or clunky like a typical plated diff, so it's definitely the TRD one rather than a CAS or whatever, which are generally more noticeable when turning, you know, clonking and juddering and shit. I cleaned up the combustion chambers quickly, just got a bit of brake cleaner out and gave them a blast, and yeah, the head's really good. Head's fucking bang on, really. So yeah, that'll sell to somebody with no problems. It's, you know, genuinely very good condition head by the looks of it, so that's good. Here's one I didn't expect. I knew it had nut rated clutch because, well, how the hell would it have handled the power? But it's also got a lightweight flywheel, which is nice. No idea the brand. I'll have to look it up, but it's got a nice lightweight flywheel. I don't know what brand the clutch is either. I might have a bit of Googling. It's got a fair bit of meat left, to be fair. It's a bloody good clutch. So yeah, God knows what brand it is. No markings on it I can see. Well, there is, but nothing that makes it obvious of what brand it is, just code numbers. But yeah, that clutch is definitely usable if someone wants to buy that, and the flywheel's shit hot, so that's another good thing to sell. Remember I said in the last video, well, maybe I said in the last video, I remember saying it on Instagram, probably did in the last video too, I can't even remember anymore, so much has happened. Anyway, I wasn't happy with how the back looked. It needed a spoiler. It's got a spoiler now. Nearly all the spoilers for these cars look a bit shit, to be honest. It's like the one, I mean, like Thomas's looks good, the ducktail, but that was from America and a lot of money and obviously waiting for it to arrive. There's other ducktails I could have got in the UK, but they looked a bit small and crappy and yeah, I weren't real fussed. And most of the others people fit just looked a bit rubbish to me. So I had a measure. And the thing is about these cars is they're very wide. They're little cars, they're short, they're almost fucking square. They're super wide. So when I measured it, I realised that spoilers that would be intended for much bigger cars, you know, S-body and R-body, Nissans, all sorts, would be about the right size. So I was looking around and I spotted that, which is a fucking Doluck rear spoiler for an R33 Skyline. And I measured stuff and it's like, you know what, it's gonna fit, or well, you know, without too much work at least. So I took the most god-awful journey in the world to go and buy it, and yeah, it does fit all right. I mean, I've not finished making it, you know, I've not even finished painting it. I've certainly not finished getting the, you know, all the joins nice. No, I'm not going to make it mint. I mean, the car's not fucking mint. I don't really care. I just wanted something because the back looked a bit weird. And now it's less weird. But it fits really well. I had to make 2 extensions for the middle supports of the spoiler because they didn't go down far enough. But apart from that, just stuck it on. It goes over the rear lights, which I actually like. You know, it's kind of like on purpose. I like drag wings, you know, so not ones that stick up a lot, ones that go out. And this is not, you know, not really a drag wing, but it's back, which is kind of what I like. Done the final bit of bodywork and paint on the spoiler. Well, the whole tailgate and, well, the whole boot lid, in fact. Just a bit of slight bit of filler on a couple of bits that the join was too obvious, and then some paint, literally rattle can. But I actually really like how it looks now. I was less convinced when I filmed the bit earlier, but now I've sort of tidied it up a bit. I really fucking like it. Don't get me wrong, it's not like show fucking quality. You can see the joins, but I don't give a shit. It's not about that. But yeah, I actually think that looks really good and really suits the car now. So yeah, much better than nothing. And considering, well, most, if not all the other options I found for these look shit. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Just been tidying up the wiring a bit on the inside because I want to get it MOT'd next week ideally. First time the spoiler's been out in the in real light. I won't call it sunlight because it's not very sunny, but still. Paint match isn't perfect, but it's a £400 car, so frankly I don't really give a shit. Yeah, it looks decent. Car's idling good, relatively quiet as you can tell. Obviously being a Skoda, it's got a VRS badge on it because that's what the engine is, so it's not, I'm not lying. It does look fairly badass from the front. I think that's the best view. It's pretty serious actually. I've got it out because I'm going to move it because Mark's coming in a minute in his RX-7, so we can smoke test to check for any leaks on his boost pipes because it's off to be mapped again very soon. So he wants to check there's no leaks before he goes because, well, most mappers don't even fucking check, so yeah, I'm just letting this warm up. I insured this earlier. Still not showing on Ask MID or whatever yet, but it never does for a few hours or a day or whatever. Mark's here, we're just smoke testing his car. Can't see any leaks at all, which is good. Most cars, honest to God, have got boost leaks. Oh, hang on, I saw an issue. Now check. Oh, yeah, you got leaks. That was kinked.
Oh.
There you go. Cars have got boost leaks, as we've just proven. Just
interesting.
the compressor outlet one's leaking at the V-band.
Wonder whether that's because it's not done up tight. That's a new one as well.
Looks a bit big to me.
It's the right size. I have got a spare at home though.
You sure it's the right size?
It's kinked.
Well, it's on the piss,
Yeah,
and it's not. It don't look right to me.
No.
That is fuck, mate. I could have told you that was, yeah.
I've got another one at home.
Yeah, that's not sealing at all.
I'll change that.
Can we not fix that? Because that's
Maybe.
right on. We'll undo it and have a go in a minute. But let's see if there's anything else while we're at it.
I think that's the only one, mate.
Looks like it. You got a tiny bit at the throttle spindle, but on all cars you're going to get that. There's no avoiding that. That's how throttle spindles work. Some cars, some throttles are worse than others.
Assembly was working.
Oh yeah. Some throttles are worse than others, but you're never going to get it gone, and a tiny bit like that is nothing. There's literally nothing you can do. I'll open the throttle to see if there's anything that come out the inlet.
Good job we checked that.
Yeah, can you see anything out there around the inlet or
No,
anything?
mate, nothing else. Just literally that. No.
No?
Nothing over that side at all.
Okay. And that's just coming out the breather, is it? Yeah, that's good. Okay. So...
Nothing on the boost pipes on the intercooler.
No. Well, let's fix that then and see if... Right, let's fix this, hopefully, and try again. Smoke.
I'm pretty confident that is the right size because I ordered it from the exact same company.
Yeah, I know, but these fucking... Who was it? That Turbo Zentrum or whatever it was?
No, it was that Scandinavian shop.
Alright.
They do a whole set, like peripherals and shit. They do
Alright.
the right V-band clamps and flanges and...
Yeah, I don't know. And the old one was a steel one like that as well, was it?
Yeah, I've still got the old one. I'll just put it back on.
Well, this one's... Well, you can see you've done it up to fully tight, and it's still too big. You can see it's too big. This is the wrong one.
Do you think it's the wrong size?
You can see it is. Look, it's tightened up to literally maximum. It's touching.
Okay.
But it's wonky there, and you can see like here, and you know, look, you know where? Yeah, come here. I'll show you. I mean, do you know what I'm saying about the little joints?
Yeah.
It's not flushed down, and there that it is tight. That's why it's gone on the piss, because it's literally fully tight. It needs a slightly smaller V-band.
Well, there's nothing we can do here then, is
No, there's not, but at least you know there's no other leaks. So once you actually make
I can just put
this fit right, then just put that on and job done.
Jobs are good on here.
So yeah, I mean, good job we did check that though, because that
was one place I would never have even...
No, and that was fucking pissing it as well.
Yeah.
This is... Those things pay for themselves. Yeah. Fucking... Oh, you can see, don't they? They're fucking ace. How much that thing cost us? 120 quid many years ago? Yeah, it's like... £100. Yeah, it's mint. So yeah, that's ideal then. So at least we only know there's one, and then not in a difficult place either. No, so just put that other clamp on. I'll fix that tonight. And make sure it...
I'll fix that tonight.
Exactly. Make sure fucking it does seem to fit right, because you can see this just not...
That's quite interesting, because...
It's not tight enough.
I just in driving around... Obviously limited to 5k or whatever.
Yeah.
I've been seeing like 10, 12 pounds a boost.
Oh yeah, exactly. So imagine how much better it's going to be with no leaks.
That's with the leaks.
Yeah. I mean, do you remember when fucking Lee first got his car mapped and it had that massive leak, and like the mapper was wanking... I think that's when he blocked me, the mapper, in the end. When he was wanking off about, people say whole sets can do this much power, but we found the maximum limit. It's this much. And I was like, no, you've got fucking boost leaks. No, we haven't got boost leaks. No, there's no leaks at all. I was like, have you checked? No, you can just tell. I was like, no, you can't. And then a few weeks later, you know, Lee, who's not stupid at all, took it upon himself to leak test it, and fuck me, it had leaks. These DI turbo blankets, by the way, seem to be the best ones so far. This car, being a rotary, gives it the hardest fucking use of any engine, but these DI ones seem to be alright. It's not even crispy yet.
In my EGTs on the motorway about, I don't know, 4,000 RPM, 85, 90 mile an hour, 850 degrees C.
Yeah.
Both runners.
Yeah. 850 EGT's just cruising, you know, safe cruising. And it's not like it's mapped in a way that it would be high. It's very fucking safe, but yeah, rotaries do exhaust temp a lot. Right, fuck it, let's just put it back together then.
Thanks for that.
This thing looks fucking awesome. Give us a bell if you get lost. Right, ta-ra.